Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me make sure we have everything set up here. Let's see if we are good over here on Facebook. We tried doing this last week on Facebook, and I don't know if I have my OBS correct, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so you might get it, you might not. We'll see how it goes. Now let me make sure that I am not on mute. It's always a time that I always go, oh, wait, ain't even live here. Let's see. Because I know you have to start it over here. It doesn't. Live video starting. Let's refresh. So I tried saving these in the Facebook group, but I just don't know. Maybe I'm not cut out for the streaming on here. It says, it always says connect streaming software to go live. I connect the streaming software. It never goes live. It's like, okay, well, what are you gonna do, right? You can only try so much. Let's see, if I go to the settings and I bring it all the way down. No. If I go over here, yeah, see, it should always have it on multiple. It says on Facebook output. Why? You could go there, you could do both. Who knows? But sometimes it always takes, like, do you have to turn it on, right? It's like, can you turn it on? Do you turn it on? Does it actually work? Oh, we'll see what happens. But let's see. Let's go live over here on Instagram because we got a good live stream topic for us today on today's Mindset Monday. So hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Let me get my notes out. And one of the things is we are going to, before we get started, one of the things that we like to do on Mondays is essentially have these mindset talks, right? Just kind of talk about specific topics. Usually it's a lot of things that I usually see. And let me write on the comments, right? If you comment the word class, if you're interested in our vision board event, comment the word class and you can get access to our free vision board tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, comment class for a vision board. Why do I say that? Master class. That starts tomorrow. Comment class for master class invite. So today what we are actually talking about is everything you want, when you think about it, is a choice, right? And let me pin that. There we go. Because everything you want is a choice. Whether or not when you wake up from the very beginning of the day is a choice. What you do is a choice, right? When you think about it, we wake up, a lot of times we scroll on our phone. When we get on our phone, we sit there and we scroll for 15 minutes. We make that choice, right? We also make the choice to get up and go to the bathroom because we have to. A lot of these decisions, a lot of these choices that we do impact the way we think, impact the way that we start our day, impact the way that we actually, and we don't realize it, I think, when it happens, but it dictates the way that we go on with our day, right? And I think a lot of times we overlook this, and we overlook the time that it looks that we think of our morning routine or a nighttime routine or whatever routine. But a lot of times, whatever it is that you want, and we'll get down into this a little bit deeper, whatever thing that you want is shaped necessarily by your choices, right? I think a lot of times when we talk about some of these when we talked about a lot of these mindset routines and these mindset ideas and these strategies, we can sit here and read all the books we want. We could sit here and watch all the self-help books we can possibly read. We can watch all the YouTube videos. But if we don't make the choice to actually listen and take some of that action or, utilize some of the stuff that is actually being said, it's just noise, right? It's entertainment, right? Maybe some of you guys use this as entertainment. You know, what the hell is Nick talking about? What's he rambling on today? Or maybe you're like, damn, I'm actually going to use a lot of that stuff. Whatever it is, it has the choice to impact your mood. It has the choice to impact your productivity. It has the choice to impact really your life. And a lot of times I always get questions, whether it's from my clients or from people that are actually just trying to get started, is like, what do I do? Like, well, if everything's a choice, what the hell do I do? What's the right choice? I got some guy with his shirt off. He's telling me, he's at the grocery store telling me, don't eat this, eat that. I got another lady that has her leggings so far up her ass that says that these are the best workouts to do. I got this guy who's completely roided out saying that the only thing you have to do is eat meat, and it's like, what choices do you have, right? You have many choices, but it's like, which one are you going to do? And we're going to kind of just rewind that whole philosophy. And I want you to think of, we know the choices are going to dictate our day, but what is, and this is where it really gets deep, is what is that one thing that you don't want to do? Right? What is that one thing that you're afraid to do? You know real deep you want to do it. Could be like skydiving, right? You're like, Nick, I'm going to go skydiving, but no, I really want to do it, but I don't want to do it, right? That choice of like going skydiving, it's like, shit, I have to jump out of a damn plane, right? It's like, that's scary enough. But you might be one of those thrill seekers, action adventure type people that is what you do, right? For somebody like myself, or maybe like Debbie, how we doing right today, Debbie? Maybe Debbie and I aren't going to be jumping out of a damn plane anytime soon, right? But these choices are going to be different from the person, or maybe Debbie's like, Nick, what do you mean? I've jumped out of 4 planes already. What the hell? But the thing is I think a lot of times we wait, and I've said this a million times, and you've probably heard it a million times, is that it's the procrastination that really prevents us from making the choice, right? It's not about the correct choice or the wrong choice. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I want to start with the very first thing that often prevents us is the procrastination, right? It's just, I just want to bend my knee, right? Ain't that the truth, right? We just want to bend. I just want to move my ankle a little bit better. But a lot of time, I think the problem whenever we go to make these choices, whatever it may be, health, jumping out of a plane, Debbie trying to bend her knee, right, is maybe working on our health goals, is that we tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start at the end of the month. Or let me wait for a couple weeks after the holidays are done. Let me wait for, after Christmas, or let me wait till after Johnny's birthday because he's got a surgery coming up, and then this will happen, and then next Monday, and then, 3 hours before Monday, and then 2 hours before 12, I'm going to do this. We wait for this perfect time. When we dial it back, it's because we're procrastinating, right? We're pushing it away. We're pushing it aside. We're waiting for this perfect time to succeed and perfect time to start. And we know what it is, right? We sometimes, it takes a little bit of reflection. Sometimes it just tells me, and when you think about it, or I'm telling you, and explaining it to yourself, and you're like, you know what? Nick, that is true. That is so thing. But now, I think a lot of times it's like we know when we procrastinate, but a lot of times it's like, when do we take action, right? Like, what do we do with it? What do we do? It's like, well, we know we're pushing that off, and we're waiting for the skies to turn blue and everything to, start raining down silver. But it doesn't work like that. But a lot of times when we go to get started, when we do feel this like momentum or this motivation, we want to go ahead and do everything like the right way. And this is a wrong approach to think, right? And this is something, maybe you've heard perfectionism, some of these other ideas. But I think a lot of times that the procrastination and then the perfectionism kind of go hand in hand, right? Because it's like we don't want to go ahead and do said task because we want it to be perfect. Maybe because of another self-limiting belief of what somebody else is going to think about you, or so-and-so is going to say this, and oh my gosh, did you see what's, and we think about that, and that prevents us from actually even get started. This is why we procrastinate. This is why we push it away. And this is why this is the biggest hurdle. And this is why I wanted to talk about this first and kind of go down this tangent, because I feel like a lot of times when we go ahead and get started, it is January. A lot of times people are talking January, new me, new goals, all this other stuff, right? Is like, where are you right now in that mindset, right? In the beginning of January, did you even start? Where are you? Like a lot of this is like, we have to really think about this in like, were we thinking about starting? Did we want to do something? but we've been waiting for this perfect time because we're waiting for the skies to turn blue and, the silver to start raining from the sky. But it doesn't mean we can't take one small step. That's the whole thing. It's like, let's break it down and start just committing to something. Not everything at once. We know we want to do everything, but can we commit to something? And I want you to think, what is that one thing that you've been pushing off? That one thing that you're like, you know what, Nick, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it could be, I always say, starting your Etsy store, starting a health journey, starting whatever it is. What is that thing that you've been pushing off because maybe you're afraid to get started, you're afraid of judgment, you're afraid of whatever it is. Maybe it's, I want to work out, but I'm afraid to go to the damn gym, right? I'm afraid of what these people might think of me. I'm afraid of, what, my family might think of me. I'm afraid of what everybody might think of me because I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. Well, I want you to start reframing a lot of that language because this is where it all starts. This is Mindset Monday, right? This is why we're here. Instead of being like, you know what, I'll try to do this one day. I'll try to do that another day. I'll try to do this. Well, one day I'm going to try it. Trying's good. But I want you to reshape it to, I will do this. I will commit to 5,000 steps. I will try to figure out how to start an Etsy store. I will paint for 2 hours or 3 hours a day. I will read a book. I will start going to yoga class. Start reframing that mind from I'll try to do something to I will do something, right? Because trying is good. We want you to try, but we also want you to do something. I want you to do something. I want to see you succeed. And I think a lot of times when we look at that mindset shift, essentially, but when we look at the shift of mindset from going from, where you are right now to where you want to be, is the decision to start, right? If you want to go ahead, I get hundreds of messages a day. Nick, I want to lose 15 pounds. Nick, I want to do this. Nick, I want to do that. Nick, I'm in pain. I'm in surgery. I want to, X, Y, and Z. I want to jump out of a plane. I want to move my knee, right? All of these start with the decision to begin, to start. Everybody's a beginner at these things, right? Everybody starts at basically ground zero. And so we have to realize that procrastination that you've been, waiting for the perfect day, waiting for all this stuff, it doesn't exist. It exists in your head. You're manifesting it. But what ends up happening is that perfect day is going to be the day that you actually just decide to take action, right? Because if you're somebody who's sitting there like, well, Nick, I need the damn motivation to get there. I just need some motivation to get started. Life's hitting me this way, that way, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the ebbs and flows of life always happen, right? I got 14 screws in my ankle. I'm trying to run a business. Everything was going good, and a guy breaks my ankle, right? And it takes me back literally 4 years, right? I feel like just now I'm starting to try to slowly get back to it. But even before then, I wasn't even in high school, right? I was basically set up for nothing until I put myself into college, right? That was a choice I made. I could have sit there and been selling drugs and went down that route, but I decided to go to college and apply myself to something different. Because I wasn't relying on motivation. I wasn't relying on, I need to get myself up to do this. It was the decision that I made a long time ago that I needed to go ahead and do these things, right? And I think a lot of times you've heard me say this is that we set standards, right? Not individual goals. And so when you can set standards, what are you building? You're building discipline. When you can build discipline, you don't rely on motivation because motivation is temporary, right? It's a temporary emotion. We've talked about this before. Nick, I get this 100 times, right? And so if you ever message me or if you ever come up with this excuse, I want you to think about this, right? If motivation, you feel like, Nick, motivation, I just don't have any motivation to exercise or get to the classes or do anything. Well, that's a temporary emotion, right? We need to dial that back. We need to reverse engineer that a little bit more and realize that motivation leads to inconsistency, right? Because if you're waiting on motivation to get yourself up out of the day, who's to say that comes up once or twice a week, 3 times a week? That ain't going to work. So we need to start realizing that it's about discipline and setting the standards, right? Because when you can sit there and do the little things, like I said, take an action, when you can take action on that thing that you've been preventing yourself from doing for who knows how long, once you could do that, you're actually setting the little things over and over into your head that's building that discipline so that whenever that bigger task comes up, you already know that you can accomplish it, right? You don't have those self-defeating behaviors that come into your head and say, wow, I don't know about this time, or let's wait for Tuesdays, whenever it's sunny outside at 2:00. We're not waiting for these perfect times because we already believe in our capabilities, in our understanding, in our skills to do this thing, right? And so stop relying on motivation, take action, and realize that once you take action, you build a discipline. Once you build a discipline, you start to realize that you can actually start to let go of the excuses that you've been holding on to, right? And they all go, like, I always call it the snowball effect, right? Because once you're able to finally get rid of the excuses, all the bullshit, oh, this doesn't work, I'm in pain, my squats, my knees, my back, my this, my that, right? I made them all. I've been there. I've done that. It wasn't until I actually took action and realized that, holy shit, I was just making these excuses. I should have done this a long time ago. What'd you say, Debbie? You're right. You taught me that the little things lead to big things, and for me, they definitely are. See, I love that, right? And that's from you just taking action, right? It's just listening and being like, you know what, Nick, maybe he isn't full of shit. Maybe I should listen to some of these things. Maybe these banded exercises are actually working, and holy hell, I can actually feel my glutes again. I can feel my quad again. Holy, wait, I'm not in knee pain anymore. What the hell was I doing different? Wait, was it the exercises, right? But that all stems from the title of the video. Everything you want comes from a choice, right? You choose to do that, right? You could choose to take the Tylenol and mask the pain, or you choose to do the exercises, go through a little bit of so-called suffering to fix said pain, right? And I feel like that is such a big mindset shift to really, as you start to get in order. And I wish I would have thought about this in my 20s and maybe even in my teens. Oh, thanks, Debbie. I appreciate that, right? But a lot of it is we have to realize that it all stems from our choices that we make, whether or not they are big, whether or not they are small, because once you do that, like I was saying, is you get rid of the excuses that you always have on yourself. Right? Whenever we're chasing goals, whenever we're chasing all these things, and this is something we're going to talk about on the masterclass tomorrow, so hopefully you've already signed up and got your invite, and making sure if you didn't, comment class and I'll send you the invite. You just have to fill out the little form so I could send you the email, is that when you start to realize that, you're stronger than your excuses, that quote, but the power that we have of making the choices, that whether it's big or small, is that we build results. Because when anything, like I was saying, like if anything is ambitious or any goals that you have that are kind of outlandish, I know we just made a vision board a couple weeks ago, and let me know if anybody's still progressing to that, whether or not you're on the replay watching this or on Facebook or wherever you are watching this. I think we're live on Facebook. Hopefully we are. Is that I want you to think is like, when we start to do the little things, once we start to take action, we start to do the little things, and then we start to build some discipline, we start to build some resilience, we start to see the fruits of our labor, we start to realize that, holy shit, I can get rid of these excuses because now I'm putting my energy towards the things that I can control, right? The choices, the small things over and over a course of the day. Because when we dwell on it, what ends up happening is that's what we focus our energy on. So why are we going to focus on the negative when we can focus on the positive? But I want you to think is like, when you do that, you start to build like a result, right? You start almost like something that's tangible, something that you can start to see, whether it is something that you built, whether it's something that you took a chance and, maybe started something completely new. Because whether or not it was a bad decision or a good decision, you started. And I think that is the main thing, is the choice. Because you can't really succeed in anything without going through some sort of mistake or some sort of adversity, right? But you would never be able to experience that if you never got started. Now, and like the analogy is like, how are you going to drive a car if you never actually get in the car to learn how to drive it, right? You can play video games. You can do all that type of stuff, right? But if you're going to go ahead and drive a car, you need to get yourself in there and do it. You got to figure out the wheel. You got to figure out like, oh, okay, this is how this works. This is how you can't drive a car without actually, you can't learn how to drive a car without getting into it. So you have to take the choices, whether or not they are big, whether or not they are small, whether or not they are, going to lead you in the right direction, lead you in the wrong direction. You'll never know unless you get in that vehicle, right? And so you have to realize when you think about it, you have to start. I think that's really what it comes down to, is you have to start. I don't know where I was going to go on this rant for today, was that I only had 4 little talking points on here. Was chasing ambitious goals and letting go of excuses, why motivation fails, stopping and starting, and the choices. And those are my notes, right? And you think about that. Where do you think that you need to make that choice to go a little bit better, to go a little bit beyond, to go a little bit further than where you are today? Did you get started in your New Year's resolution goals, right? Did you even make any damn goals? Maybe you made some, but then you're kind of fizzling out. It's the third weekend, your motivation's a little, maybe your motivation's a little out. Maybe even facing fear and judgment, right? We talked about that, facing fear and judgment for yourself, right? Defeating your own self-defeating behaviors. The role of procrastination, right? Just getting started. And I feel like once you could identify, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, was reflection. Being able to reflect, or maybe that was on our coaching call this weekend, was being able to reflect in whether or not it was good, whether or not it was bad, whatever, but just being able to reflect and just go back and be like, how was the last 6 months? How was the last 3 months? How was my last week? When was the last time you reflected on your week, right? Like, how was Sunday of last week compared to Sunday of this week? Did you show up to the yoga class? Did you show up to the Pilates class, right? Did you make that commitment to yourself? Did you feeling a little stronger? You feeling a little bit more mobile? Of course you are, right? But that all starts with a choice, because everything you want, this starts with a choice. If you want to go ahead and buy the shitty food, guess what? It starts with a choice, right? When you're walking past the aisle, you're going to put it in your cart. You want to go buy the healthier food? It starts with a choice. You're seeing it in there. You put it in your cart. Maybe nowadays people are just on their app and it's getting sent to your house, right? We don't realize it. We have a choice. Now, again, you can't really pick and choose your parents, and there are some things that are out of our control. But I'm talking about the things that you do have control over. Because, again, like I said, the difference between where you are now and where you want to be is the decision to begin in the first place, right? Like, think about that. The difference between where you are today and where you want to be starts with a choice. Whether it's big, whether it's small, whatever it is, it starts with the damn choice, right? And the thing is you can make that choice by commenting class and coming over to the masterclass invite tomorrow at 7:30. It's going to be a free masterclass where I'm going to teach you how to set up a morning routine. I'm going to go on a little rant about nutrition. I'm going to teach you a couple things about, well, I'll just have to save it until you get there because I don't want to give out everything until we have it. So comment class, sign up. I know I probably already have most of your email addresses, but I always forget because we do have like 100,000 some people on here now, so I never really know. I try to remember everybody. I think last year, whenever we were a little smaller, I was like, hey, I knew everybody. I was like, hey, how you doing? But now I'm trying, but there's only so much I can do. I realized if I did 100 messages for 300 days, I would still only get 3,000 people. Yeah, it wouldn't. Still wouldn't be able to match everybody. So what are you going to do, right? We can only do our best. That's why I go to these live streams, and hopefully that we can get and reach a lot of the people. So it's going to be a good masterclass. Let me just show you what I already have. Oh, I guess I really can't show you. But let me explain what I have. A little bit of my information here is if you are somebody who, let's see, where did I have my notes at? Yeah, so we're going to build a simple morning routine. So again, I want you to bring a pen and paper. So that's going to be important. The role of nutrition. See, this is the thing. Like I was talking about PCOS because I've been getting a lot of comments about PCOS in messages. So I was going to talk a little bit about that and some of the research I've been doing in that regards, but more or less just reducing inflammation, right? I think reducing inflammation is something as we're getting older. I think that's, so as I'm getting older, you can see my fucking gray hair is starting to get a little shiny over here. That's why I'm wearing these damn hats, is that, I think we could all utilize some stuff for reducing inflammation. Now, inflammation's not always bad, right? I want you to remember that inflammation isn't always the worst thing for you, just depending on what type. And I'm going to show you why in some of the new research of why muscle building, especially for my ladies, is going to be one of the most important things you can do after 40. New research has just come out, and I'll save it for then. But new research has just come out over the last couple months showing that building muscle is literally the key to staying active, staying pain-free, and disease-free. Now, in February, I'm going to go down this whole heart health month. I mean, my grandma, hopefully she's all right, but she had a stroke. She's doing okay. So I want to kind of go ahead, and it's just reiterated to me that I find that, a lot of times women and men, heart attack, stroke symptoms are completely different, right? And a lot of times what you think you might just be dizzy, might just feeling, I'm just feeling a little under the weather, could be something very serious. So we're going to talk about that more or less in February, but, that's some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, some more heart health stuff. But we do have the masterclass, Move More, Hurt Less, Build Strength and Confidence. That is going to last. It's going to be tomorrow at 7:30. It's going to be about an hour. And if you want to sign up, just comment class. I'll send you over the invite through my automated system. Click the little button and just fill out the form and I'll send you an invite. I'll send out all the invites. We only have 20 spaces. I was only going to let 20 people in and we already have 15. So if you want to join, it's free. It's going to be awesome. You got to do a little bit of work, right? You got to we're going to do it together. It's going to be a little bit of a workshop, a little bit of a masterclass, a little bit of an education thing. I should charge for it, but we're going to keep it free. That's how we like to do it over here, unless you want to give me a tip and I'll do a little dance. No, I'm kidding. But that's what we're going to do tomorrow, but let's just recap today. Let me get my recap. What the hell did I do with my notes? Because I just have like 5 different things up here. All right, yeah, here we go. So, just a quick recap. Because I know we're on like 4 different platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We might even be muted. Who knows, right? Instagram, I don't even know. We might be muted over here, and you guys might be the only ones that get to see me. But we do have, actually, one last little housekeeping thing, is the podcast is, we're like 70%, 80% done with it. I got to record some more. I got to record my intro, my outro, and a couple, things in the middle. I don't even know really what they are, but we are almost done. The Fit for a Comeback podcast. You heard it here first. I think we got 8 people over here live. Fit for a Comeback podcast. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be on Apple, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. Hopefully, we'll try to launch it by February. That's my goal, is to launch it by February. I just got to kind of get some more of the stuff done. But yeah, well, that's always exciting. That was on the vision board, and I'm making it happen, right? So we're slowly making the things, because like I said, what was the whole idea of this live stream? Everything you want is a choice, right? If I wanted to make this live stream a podcast like you guys wanted me to, well, it was a choice. I had to do it. So I had to reach out and figure out how the hell to do this, right? So we had to figure out how to make it. That's a choice. And when we think about all the decisions that we make throughout a day, all the decisions that we make throughout the night, throughout a year, it all comes down to how what our choices are. Because we know that procrastination is is really the biggest hurdle, right? That's why I started out with that in the beginning. And I'll say this if you want to start from the beginning, because I actually forget what the hell I even said. But procrastination is the biggest hurdle that I feel most of us struggle with, right? When it all comes down to it, because we say, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll start when the pigs start flying, right? And that never happens. The thing is when we wait for the perfect day, we wait for the perfect opportunity, it never happens. We have to choose. What I always say is it's either one day or day one, but it's literally that's it. You either have to choose to do something, or you just stay in the same way, right? But the thing is you have to make it a day one, because everybody starts as a beginner, right? Instead of just going all in, start small, because we want to build them small steps to lead us to the place that we want to be, right? Because the difference between where you are now and the difference between where you want to go starts with a choice. It's really that simple, right? What do you want to do? Well, I'm waiting for motivation. Well, that's bullshit, right? Because motivation is temporary. We know when motivation's temporary, guess what? It's inconsistent. It's that simple. If you're waiting on motivation, motivation's inconsistent because it's a temporary emotion. So the solution, build discipline. We got to build standards. We don't just wait. We show up whenever it's hard. We show up whenever we don't want to. Whenever, I've been sick all week. I'm still trying to post videos. I didn't post as many as I wanted, but we posted some. My nose is crusty. I probably shouldn't even be doing this live stream. But you know what? We're out here, right? Because it's non-negotiable. Monday mindset, Wednesday, Friday, we do these things. So I want you to establish some non-negotiables. What are some non-negotiables that you can consider into your daily life? Well, guess what? You're going to learn about that tomorrow at our masterclass, because we're going to figure it out. Build some accountability. Show up for yourself, right? Who's doing the things that you want to do? Who's helping themselves out? Who's growing? Who wants to be? Do you want to get yourself into a community that is growing and fostering those values that you want to embody? Well, join the coaching program, right? We got tens of people who are in here grinding away, trying to just chip away, busy as hell, professionals doing it one day at a time, just like you. But this time they actually reached out for help, not trying to do it all themselves. And they're actually seeing results. Because I want you to focus on what you can control. A lot of those things, making the plan, perfect plan, going to ChatGPT. I had a lady the other day said, Nick, I went to ChatGPT to make my exercise plan. And I said, oh yeah? How's that going for you? She's like, well, I'm reaching out to you now. I said, I thought so. It was working for a while. Yeah, well, you can only ask a robot to, it might be able to give you all the stuff, but it still doesn't work. So you realize that that's not even what you're looking for. So we have to focus on what we can control and just do the little things and show up. Because when we can put the energy to what we can control and to what we can't, guess what? Your choices, your efforts, everything starts to stack up, and that you're not relying on motivation anymore. You're relying on the standards that you put into yourself, right? I think that's the biggest step that you can really make, because it is the power of the small choices over the course of time, day in and day out. Because when you stop giving up on the little things, you just give up. But if you keep showing up one day after another, it becomes habitual, and you start to control what you prioritize. It's like what's in sight is what's in mind. What's out of sight is what's out of mind. That's what you got to think of. Put these things in sight. Start with one habit. Start with one thing. Start with one choice. Start to build some momentum. Don't try to give yourself all these different tasks at once and be like, oh my God, no wonder you can't fucking complete anything, because you're trying to do too much. Start with one thing, complete it, build some wins, stack them, and then look at the overall picture, see what all you accomplished, and then think of what your next goal is that you have to start on, right? It's not work smarter, not harder. And this is what we're going to teach on the masterclass tomorrow at 7:30. So if you're interested, and if you're seeing this on the replay, well, maybe you should have been here live, or maybe you should have signed up for the masterclass. But if you want to sign up, comment the word class. I'll send you over the invite, and we'll get you set up for everything. that you want to do. I'll send you the Zoom link and we'll get ourselves together. But if you have any questions, holler at me, let me know. If you don't, just focus on, if you can focus on one thing, focus on the thing that you can control, because again, everything you want is a choice. You can either choose the path of going in the right direction, or you can choose the path that is going in the right direction or the wrong direction. But you will never know unless you make the choice to start. You'll never know if it's a good decision or a bad decision unless you start, because guess what? The right decision is the combination of them both. When you think about it, right? You need the good, you need the bad to go together so that you can learn from it and keep going. So keep going, everybody. And if you need some extra help and you're like, Nick, I don't even want your masterclass, I need to join the coaching program, comment the word Core 5 and I'll see if I can help. But other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in for today's Monday Mindset class live stream. We're going to be doing this on a podcast here in the next couple weeks, couple days. Actually, it's 11 days. So yeah, we're going to get ourselves going. So thanks everybody on Facebook, YouTube. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and message me class or message class down below and we'll get you set up for the masterclass. How much is the class, Tara? It's free. It's a free class. It's a free masterclass. All you got to do is show up at 7:30. If you are interested, just comment. It is free. I do a lot of the paid challenges, like some of those 5-week paid challenges. Those are the only ones that I ever actually charge money for. Those are $2.99. Sometimes you can get it on sale for $1.95. But that's because it's coaching. This one is a masterclass. I mean, it is coaching, but it's one of those things that I like to do for free. So we will hopefully see you in there. So thanks everybody for tuning in. If you see this on the replay, holler at me. Let me know I can help. And if you are here live, comment the word class. And if you're on Facebook, you'll just have to, I don't know if I'm doing it on Facebook. No, so it's going to be on Zoom. So you won't get it on Facebook. You're going to have to message me class. That's it. All right, everyone.